Alright, just checking sound, video, all of that stuff. Can you people see me? Rather, can you people hear me? And see the screen with the logo as of now. Then Chrome, AutoCAD, and the Sketchcam as of now. Okay, awesome, awesome. So, I think we'll begin from. Where do you want me to start from? Do we start from the very beginning again? From the very beginning? Don't just say yes, because the answer to all the questions you seem to have is yes. Ooh, and there's something I wanted to try before we actually. Hmm. Does that work? No. Okay, never mind. Something that I'll probably set up for the next time. But yeah, what do you think we people? What do you think we should do? You think we should go back to the very beginning, or should we, well, start with effectively counters and stuff from there? Waiting for your replies. Just wondering where to begin. Should we start at the very beginning, or should we start with well, counters? We covered a fair bit of things from yesterday, but I'm just wondering if it's just those people, or are they people who have just joined us, haven't seen yesterday's stuff? Because I don't think yesterday's thing was too clear anyway. All right, fine. So we'll begin with that section only from where we left off yesterday. Just a very, very, very quick recap of what we did yesterday. Just moving some papers around. Sorry. Okay. So what we were dealing with yesterday is we chose a kitchen from basically Google. We just googled 2 BHK apartment plan. Yeah, Harnisha, were you here yesterday? So basically, my question is, should I start from where I left off yesterday, or should I start with the very beginning? I knew that was going to happen. Who is LA, by the way? Okay, I think I will begin from the very top, but go through it hopefully a whole lot. Sorry, got disconnected. Is it back now? Is it working? Okay, can you hear me clearly and all of that? Is this mic volume better? I've reduced the music further. While you people are telling me that, alright, yesterday what we did yesterday was basically look for 2 BHK plan to choose a kitchen, right? Oh god, oh fast too it seems. Okay, let's, yeah, this is actually a very good one. So yeah, uh, yeah, perfect. Echoes. Clear now. Okay, I have no idea how to solve an echo issue anyway. So ignoring that. Fauna, kitchens, right? So while looking through, okay, let's just look through a few plans, and we'll come back to this one. I think that's a very good kitchen. But just to choose this a little further, or rather just to look through a few other plans that might well come up, just look through a few more kitchen plans. We looked at this I think yesterday. There's a kitchen here with a utility, what's this, a connection into the utility, and then you as in windows and stuff like that. Then okay, kitchen, there's a kitchen. Kitchen's here. I don't know what that box is, but okay, so we have again, what's this? A very narrow kitchen, quite honestly, with just 7 feet between the two walls. We have counters on both sides, again leading to utility and things like that. I'm pretty sure this is mirrored. Yep, it's just mirrored, rotated, and yeah, we have an apartment. Okay, then another image. There's a kitchen in this. There. So again, a rather small kitchen, but but we don't have a plan of it. But not too bad actually. So you go through here, you have counter possibly on all 4 sides, but I think this is too small. But it's next to the entrance, which connects to the living room. Your dining room is there. Apartments are damn annoying to design. So we see quite a few bad ones. But having chosen this one, the reason I like this particular apartment and this particular kitchen is the fact that it gives us a few options, right? When I say options, when I look at this kitchen, there is literally no other way that I can design my kitchen. The counters have to be on both sides, on either side rather, and nothing, as in the center has to be free, so I can't connect the counters like this, can't create a C because you have to lead to the utility. The utility, by the way, is quite terrible, and your kitchen only ventilates through the utility. So effectively what you've done is taken a kitchen, cut it in half, and called the rest of it utility, which I don't think is a very good idea. And again, it's very tiny here, so if this is what's this, what is the depth of a counter, would you say? What is the regular depth of a counter? And please keep the chat rather active. I'll keep looking there just to see if there are questions and things like that. I don't want to see like previous messages only. It's rather boring. It's like I'm talking to myself. So yeah, the issue, like I was saying, this does not give us too many options on how we can possibly design. Yeah, it's 0.6, right? So 0.6 or 2 feet. So if this is 7 feet 7 inches, we take 2 feet off this side, we take 2 feet off this side, which basically goes as 4 feet. So what's left in between is 3 feet 7 inches. And with 3 feet 7 inches, we can't keep anything here. This automatically becomes only the passage, right? Thanks to that, we can't have like a counter that connects here or anything like that. So this is the only shape of counters that we can come up with, or that we can work with. Same, for some reason it feels like it's the same plan. It very well could be. Almost. But yeah, so same issue with this. Is even narrower. That was 7 feet 7 inches. This is 7 feet, and this is drawn wrong purely because this does not look like 2 feet, that if that is 2 feet, the 2 feet should come somewhere here, which basically means what is left in between is 3 feet, right? So the majority of a kitchen is literally the counter, and only one person can walk in and out. So if you have a maid or something, well, tough luck. So yeah, so kitchens are, as in designing kitchens, even in your plans and stuff like that, are very important, or rather is very important. But coming back to this particular kitchen, let's use this one. Someone convert this into feet, please. I mean, convert this to please, and we'll just assume some basic values. And please tell your friends and whoever else might be interested that this is happening now. Ooh, by the way, check out Extra Josh lighting, and check out the shadow behind it. Hee-haw. Anyway, sorry, distracted. Anyway, drawing the kitchen now. This is meant to be 11 feet that way, 7.5 feet this way. And it's got a what does that symbol mean? Can someone tell me? Or rather, what is he trying to indicate here in this position? Oh wait, I haven't drawn any. Yikes, sorry. Okay, I was just drawing the plan itself. My question was what this particular marking is. So I'll let you look at that again, and you can tell me what this area means. So, what does this mean? Where is this? What does this particular thing mean? That dotted X and stuff like that. No one knows? So, approximately that drawn out. The length here in as Supriya has converted it is, let's say, 3350 by 2300 or 2400. Let's just make that 8 feet instead. Fine. So with these, basically this kind of a shape of kitchen, the what's this, what we look at next is basically the counter shape, right? But just before we go into the counter shape itself, why is this stuck? Yeah, basically in terms of the counter, we have to go into the counter shape and things like that, but just before we do that, what is the materials, what are the materials that we use in a kitchen? All the different ones, let's list them really quick. No one knows what that means. The cross, yes, generally is double height in a plan and things like that, but here obviously it's not that. So what can it be? What is it? While you're thinking about that, I'll draw all the different shapes that we can have a counter in, right? this is our usual, literally every wall is covered with a counter. Then we can have the one that was drawn in the image itself, which is an L-shaped counter. Was it an L-shaped counter? Yeah, approximately. Then probably a different L-shaped, or let's do a C-shaped one. Yes, Vinayak, it is an arch. So basically it's just a doorway. Okay, so we have the C-shaped counter. Then that's it. Okay, we have a few different configurations for the particular L. Anyone else come up with any other particular shapes? Okay, let's do this. Then do I even have more colors? Red. Okay. You can possibly do a weird something like that also. So yeah, we have a lot of options for this particular. Where is this? Why isn't this not? Is it stuck again? Can you people hear me and clearly, and as in it's not buffering and things like that? Because I don't think you people are anywhere close to being, well, live here, which is a little surprising. The G shape. The first one you could consider a G shape straight, which is basically all the four walls. Or you could possibly even extend that further. The U would be the orange, yes. The galley is an important one, yes. Okay, let's draw that with light green if we can make out differences. So a galley kitchen basically is where you have the kitchen counter on the opposite ends of the wall, or rather on opposite walls. And yeah, so basically, yeah, these are all the different options in one image itself. So we can now look at I don't think we're going to the pros and cons of each shape and things like that, and the basic okay, might as well go into the what is a working triangle, work triangle, things like that. What are the different points of a work triangle? And also, while we are at it, start listing down appliances that happen in a kitchen, that we use in a kitchen. We'll start writing that down also. What's a broken U? Okay, so fridge, sink, stove, wow, sink, fridge, then range, cooking range, then cooktop, sink, refrigerator, oven, then I missed anything? Dishwasher. What else? What else? What else? What are the different things that we have to put in, not just the appliances? Those who were here yesterday, just try to remember, recall quick. Chimney. What else? Garbage disposal, which we'll write as grinder, mixie grinder. What else? What else? What else? Lots of filter. Yes. Let's call it AquaGuard. Or oh no, that's I'm just gonna say that AquaGuard only. Then storage, lots of storage. Induction stove. No, we as in I'm just gonna say that that's part of the cooking range for now. As in we are not designing for a separate induction stove. A drying rack, yes. Then the summer work triangle is three sides should not exceed 26 feet. Each leg should measure between 4 and 9 feet. The work triangle shouldn't cut through an island or peninsula by more than 12 inches. Okay, yay. But what do the three sides of a work triangle actually include? Although it's a very good, it's a rather what's this? Interesting definition there. Shelves. Okay, I'm gonna say storage shelves. Okay, so while we're doing that, I'll just mark the ones that have a lot to do with the electricity, like I did yesterday. I think that is an important distinction, as in separation or types of things: fridge, cooking range, oven, dishwasher, chimney, garbage disposal. The garbage disposal that we use in India is literally just dustbins and things like that. I don't think we have the there are basically effectively mixies at the bottom of your sink that can grind these things and then flush it out. But we don't use that in India so often, so I'm not going to deal with the details of that for now. But mixie, grinder, AquaGuard, drying rack. I'll explain the 3 points of the work triangle, but okay. So yeah, the 3 points are the fridge, star, fridge, stove, and sink. How appropriate that is in the what's this, in the top of our list, right? So the idea with the work triangle is that you have to place these three things. I'm sure you've done this in, I don't know, in your first second semesters in design, but what's this, just to go through this really quick again, we have these three things that have to be arranged in a triangle, right? So assuming you put the sink here and you put the range here for whatever reason, your fridge should possibly come here or there or something like that, right? So this triangle should work in whichever, wherever you want to place these things. You can place them in pretty much any spot you want in the kitchen itself, but this triangle should work. And what he's talking about it not being, as in not going through a peninsula or and things like that, is assuming I have a breakfast counter that comes like that, then yeah, most of these triangles get cut. Therefore we don't have one of these things coming out. So because it to go from your cooking range to the sink, you'll actually have to go around it, which isn't the best thing, right? So that's the work triangle, but we are not going into too much detail of that. Just assuming you already know that, just refreshing. I should probably use the black pen to do this, but anyway. So we are back to our basic thing, and let's choose a counter shape, right? Which, let's say, what are the different colors here? We have blue. Okay, I'll write down the different shapes. This is the blue, so blue is L shaped. Can you see this? Yes, you can. Then orange is U shaped. I don't know why I'm writing the color of the pen, but anyway, orange is U shaped. Red L shape. black L. How many L's did I draw? Lots of L shapes. Oh no, the red is not an L. The red is a weird C thing. No sound? Can you people hear me? Just going through all the different shapes and things like that. Tell me which shape we should work on here. As in, choose a shape, choose a color, choose something. Spam the chat. We'll use one of them to decide what colors and stuff to use. Or rather, not. Not which color to use, what shape to use. Blue. Blue is this L-shaped thing. Orange is that full thing. Same blue L. What? Okay, yeah. Can't vote like twice and stuff, man. Okay, orange, orange, orange. Any more for orange? Come on. Orange. Okay. Sorry, Mansa. Tamara has won it. Tamara. Tamara. Cool. So that's the shape of green galley. 2 greens. Should I wait for everyone? See, this is why I wanted to try out the poll, but it obviously didn't work today. Can I do that really quick? Is there any way? No, I can't. Oh man, mistake happened. Sorry about that. Closed it by mistake and then I had to, yeah, all sorts of things to fix it. But we're back. Right, sorry. Okay. So let's draw this out clean. I'm going to change this the size of the room slightly just to make it like a nice even number. Okay, so let's say the dimensions. I should write them in a different color possibly, or in pencil maybe. Let's say this is 3600, which is slightly less than 12 feet, but we can assume is 12 feet. This can be okay, shapes. is, let's say, 2400 mm, right? Cool. Fine. So with this particular thing, let's what is the shape that we chose? The orange one, which is our U, right? So that happens in this. So this is our window, and this is the shape of kitchen that we have. So in this particular shape, what is our well, where do you think we should place all the different things? We have three things, the three main things that we have to place, which are the sink, fridge, and cooking range. So I'm going to say on wall. Okay, let's call this actually. Yeah, let's do that. A. Let's borrow from maths a little. A B C D. That's our rectangle, right? So give me answers in terms of which wall you want which one to be. So you want each thing to be on the AB wall or the BC wall or the CD wall or the AD wall, right? So based on that, give me answers in terms of the fridge, cooking range, and the sink. And obviously reasons for it. Or actually, first just give me the positions, then we can look at reasons. Check. Check. Okay. Come on, come on, come on, quickly. You people really need to learn to type faster. If you are indeed typing, that is. Okay, let's start with the cooking range. Which wall can it be on? A, B, BC, or CD? Cooktop on BC, on this wall. CD cooking unit near window. Fridge on AB, fridge on AB. Okay. Sink on CD. Supriya fridge. Oh, here. Okay, that's the reason I did. Not too bad. Sink under window. Here. CD is for, what did I ask for? Sink. Cooktop on CD. All those of you, okay, let's start with the cooking range, like I said. So all of you, those of you who are saying range on the CD, because I think that's our most, well, common answer. Why on CD? I wasn't. Yeah, yeah. The messages are invariably delayed, unfortunately. But I will respond as quick as I can. And I wasn't saying too much, so it's not like I couldn't, or rather, that you can't hear me and things like that. I'd muted. So I still haven't gotten any reasons as to why ventilation and natural lighting on CD. That's one of the reasons. Okay. What are the other reasons that you can come up with, please? And yeah, I do read it much earlier than you people can see it on screen. I have the chat open here, so I can respond to you on chat also. But it's a complicated system. At some point, I will explain how this live streaming thing works. But for now, I've evidently dropped a lot of frames. I don't know what that means. But yeah, obviously going to get better at it as time goes on if we do this often enough. But for now, I still haven't gotten any more reasons. Only ventilation and natural lighting on CD, and therefore you put the cooking range there. What about the other things? What about chopping vegetables then? Don't you need light for that? What other things, as in preparation and stuff like that? Anyone? Okay. Just to see how delayed this stream is, and maybe that we should refresh it or no, I'm gonna write the time down here. It is 6:41, and I just switched on the sketch cam thing. Let's see how long it takes for you to get it, because I have a bad feeling we are stuck. Gladson Thomas, oh my god. Just make sure he's also watching it. For cooking, we have exhaust on BC, but I thought you said natural light and ventilation on CD. Changing it to BC. Hello, Sunny. I don't think we've met, have we? In either case, Sunny, who are you? I'm sorry. This is part of a classroom thing that we're doing. But sure, you can sub. But who are you? Give us some details, man. But anyway, in terms of the reasoning for the cooktop and things like that, why it can't be on CD. The answer CD is wrong, right? Uh, the the reason is mostly that when you look at the section of it. Okay, let's draw a section slightly here. Here, okay. Let's do some section here of the window itself, right? We'll get to the heights of these things in a bit. They are slightly different from your regular heights. But assuming a cooktop as in a counter is somewhere there, and you put a cooktop there, slightly just higher than that, we have whatever, and you have a container, a saucepan. For some reason, the handle is projected towards the person cooking. And yeah, so you have, oh no, super tall person. Yeah, somewhere there. I just realized the proposal's office is like completely off, but yeah, deal with it. So yeah, what are the issues that happen when you have this kind of a scenario? Stay, Sunny, don't leave. Anyway, what are the issues that you see with this kind of a section? What is the problem with this? Sunny sir. Okay. From our college? Damn. I'm really sorry. But of course, you're welcome to stay, sir. What's the issue? What's the issue? I'm still waiting for answers for this. It is these kind of things that are kind of important, well, in kitchen design itself, obviously. So there's a reason why we don't put the cooktop near the window. Why is that? Going by that analogy, obviously, if this is not going to be a cooktop, let's put the sink here. Let's put the cooktop here, maybe, because that was the next most common answer, BC. And I like the fridge here, kind of. Like that. We could possibly cut the counter here, put the fridge there, which might be a slightly cleaner solution. Material off the window. How does that change anything? This, it could be a metal window, a glass window, anything. Oh wait, whoa, sorry. Okay, my setup is really weird. I have a glass table, so and I don't have a webcam, so I actually have my phone that's doing, as in basically shooting the video, sending it to my computer through an app, and then the computer is reading it and blah blah blah. So there are delays and things like that, but more importantly, I'm literally drawing this on my lap, right? So I'm sorry if this keeps moving and things like that. I apologize. The wind, yes. Vinayak, yes. You could have a fire hazard there, hazard with the material and things like that. But more importantly, the wind, right? As in, just in terms of everyday usage, you will have basically you will have a lot of breeze coming through, and therefore disturbing our well, the fire below our pots and things like that, and it could go off. And the problem with the fire going off is not that, yeah, it's a problem when you can switch it back on, but you will have a gas leak, and that is slightly scarier than most other things that we are dealing with. So yeah, in general, you don't put a cooktop near the window. We basically, yeah, we could assume that we put the sink there, because yeah, you could, I don't know, wash vessels while you're looking out of the window and things like that. All right, so let's assume that we put the cooktop on this surface, right, and the sink on that surface. Let's put the fridge there, so we'll cut the counter slightly and insert the fridge in there. Let's not do that, mostly because I think it blocks that portion of your counter, and you can't use that too much. Alright, so let's do this now. The next thing are the sizes. We will I'd asked this question earlier, what's the depth of a counter? Yes, if there are windows opposite each other, there are chances of your privacy being invaded upon. But that's not what we're talking about here. That's yeah, that probably has a lot to do with the actual building and things like that. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Good to know. Hee-haw. Anyway, with the size depth of the counter first, 600 mm, 60 centimeters, yes. And then with that, what are the what's the dimension of a fridge? So here, how much space? Okay, I'm not asking for the dimension of the fridge itself. How much space should I leave from the wall to the counter to put the fridge inside? And also, as in, say depth is equal to 60 centimeters and things like that, because yeah, I'm gonna keep asking you a lot of values, and I don't know what your what answer is in relation to what. As live as this is, we still have issues. Okay, let's call this sink. Okay, everything in this direction is x, so sink x and sink y. Sinky. Okay. Sink y. Cookie. No. This is cook x and cook y. Uh, fridge y and fridge x. 0.7 for refrigerator. Why 0.7? 1 meter for refrigerator. Why 1 meter? You have sinkies and fridges. Okay. I'm like thrilled by the tiniest of things. I know that I want to apologize, but I don't want to apologize at the same time. I don't know. Uh, while you're while you give me the dimensions of that, I'm going to start drawing the section, which I can draw below this. Can I? Kind of. This is not going to be in brilliant scale and things, unfortunately, because of the size of the paper that I'm drawing on. Where is this here? Here. Okay. Cool. Let's assume floor to floor is 3 meters, so that's somewhere there. There's a slab below here. Can you see both slabs? Yes. Okay. This is our wall, but immediately below this you have a beam. Then you have your counter somewhere there. You have this, and then you have a dado or something, and you have your overhead cabinets, possibly something there. Most of you have probably guessed my next question. No, I've already used ABCD. Okay, skirting. Let's actually call it by name. Is it seen? Yes. Hello, check. Huh? Alright. Skirting, counter, bottom of overhead cabinet, and top of overhead cabinet. Okay, can you all hear me and things like that, or are we just supremely delayed? I haven't gotten a single answer. What are all the different dimensions, please? As in sink X and sink Y, cook X and cook Y, fridge X and fridge Y. Counter 80 to 90 centimeters. What is 80 to 90 centimeters? Counter. You mean the depth? Bottom of overhead. Oh, you're talking about height. Okay, sorry. Counter 80 to 90 centimeters is not absolutely correct. The bottom of overhead 1.5 meters. Uh, kind of, maybe, yeah. I'd like everyone to guess, please. Get a little more interactive in this thing. Let's, as in, I don't want to just literally just make a video explaining kitchens, because I think I can make a better video if I'm doing this offline. And it's incredibly boring just to do this by myself. As in, like I was saying, just talking to myself is annoying. So top of overhead 2 meters, again not absolutely accurate. Try again. Zoom my labeling. Sorry. Oh crap, now I have to focus. Can you see this? Cook X is 700 mm. Cook Y is 500. Okay. 0.9 by 0.5. Not absolutely accurate. Try again. Little more, as in give it to me in, I think, millimeters. Then I think you'll get become a lot more accurate. 0.5 is not absolutely accurate. I'm pretty sure you googled it, but the 980 by 510 and things like that, I'm pretty sure they're available in those sizes, but there are more standard sizes. And more than the 980, I'm looking at the X. This value I think is a lot more important right now in terms of the sink dimensions. 550, no. 550 is too much. Skirting 75 mm, counter 750 mm. 750 mm I think is too low. Skirting can be 75 mm, but let's say let's just make it easier for us and say 100 mm for skirting. Did it die? Sync Y, yeah, Sync Y you have a lot of different options, right? Sync Y can be lots of different lengths and things like that. Counter height, yes, is 850 mm. It can vary from 800 to 850. Those are the values. Right, 75 is more dining table and table heights and things like that, but you'll have to realize that for a kitchen counter you're standing, so it needs to be at least 80 or 800 mm, and the maximum height you can possibly imagine for a very tall person's house. And when I say very tall person's house, I mean approximately 6 feet. India 6 feet is super tall, so yeah, around 850 is approximately the maximum you should go to. Anything more than that and it's going to become very difficult for others to use the kitchen, as in you simply won't be able to reach. And top of the overhead 900, how is that possible? The counter itself is like 850. How's the overhead just 900? the idea is between these two there should be approximately 600 mm. So what is 800 plus 600? Bottom of the overhand, yes, approximately 1400 mm. Now again, these are standard. There are reasons for why this is here and things like that, just so that's easier to work. Approximately here, so person's approximately that high, so it's easier for them to work, or even if they are closer, you can still like reach here and things like that. Any lower and the back of the counter stops being as useful. So you need one, the height here, and as in the height is definitely required. The next dimension obviously is the depth of your overhead cabinet. What is the depth of an overhead cabinet? Also, what is the top of a overhead cabinet? That I don't think Hanisha, just try refreshing your page and things like that. Should help. Oh wait, it's time for our presentation on the other side. Damn it. Depth of overhead 350. No, 300 is correct. Not point 300 is 300. The point, as in the reason we have, wait, is it visible here? The reason why can't that be 600? Why can't that be here? As in the depth of our counter is 600. Why can't the overhead also be 600? What's the reason for that? Okay, I'm just slightly taking this area, this part little slow, mostly because yeah, these are very important and the reasons for these are also important. I'm waiting for you people to respond and things like that. I think it's important enough to wait. You'll hurt your head. That is exactly the point. Vision to a certain level, but you, as in, obviously, it's going to cut down on a lot of vision and things like that. But the idea is that you should be able to put your head there and do work, right? Which is what you kind of do. You don't stand back. You don't stand here and then like touch that, right? So you're slightly bent forward while doing this, and what's this, you can look almost straight down onto the things you're doing, right? So yeah, so the depth of this has to be approximately 300 mm, right? Yeah, basically interrupt the what the person who's cooking can see, and that's going to bother and not just block the sun, but yeah, the fact that it's going to hit your head is a lot more annoying. And the reason it can possibly hit your head is something we'll get into while we're designing the overhead cabinet itself. All right, in a little bit, we'll just go in order. So yeah, the top of the overhead we have not yet figured out, which we will get to. Generally, it is 2.1 or 2100 mm, mostly because it's the lintel height of a regular door, so it kind of makes sense to follow the same line. But this can vary. All right, we can possibly include a whole set of effectively a loft storage and things like that, which we can also go into a little more detail for. All right. So at this point, I think I can show you a couple of sheets. Does that make sense? Should I show sheets? No. Where is? just opening the sheet, 1 second please. Actually, I can crop this corner. Sorry. Crop. Okay. Can you see this? Yeah. Okay. So now that we've gotten the basic heights and things like that, and the basic dimensions of it, what was expected in your sheets, or at least in my class, were basically a plan was presented, and you had to design your own kitchen. Right. So this was approximately the plan that was given in class. You had a doorway here, you had another doorway there. This led to the balcony. This area led to the living room, dining room area. So it was, as in, I don't remember the dimensions, and unfortunately the pictures aren't that clear. But the plans that we need and the drawings that we need, I'll explain now. We generally, every kitchen has at least 3 drawings, as in at least three well bits of information. Let's say, is this clear? Is this being seen? Where is this? There's a good minute or 2 minutes delay, which is annoying me. But anyway, so yeah, the 3 plans are the below counter plan, or basically below the counter height, which is 800 to 850. So these counters will, I mean, these plans are probably at anywhere from whatever 100 up to 700 700 800 and then the plan of the counter itself, so just slightly above the counter, showing things like the sink, the hob, and whatever else they're placing on the counter, and a plan. Yeah, in this particular sheet, I'm sorry, the dimensions actually, the photo is not amazingly clear, but we don't need those dimensions. I'll explain without that. So the above plan, the above counter plan. So this is a plan at basically where you're cutting the overhead cabinets themselves. All right. So there are 3 different plans that you generally, or at least 3 bits of information that you need to understand a kitchen. Then we basically had the elevations of all 4 walls, right? So you have the 4 elevations of what are different things are, and what's it, showing the things like the chimney and how that goes out, all the shelves, any other extra design features that you want to have, and most importantly, all of them are sections, so they are sectional elevations, and they show the actual what's the counter and things like that below it. In this section, in most of the sections here, you have the floor and things like that. You have the skirting, you have the door in front of the behind that are the shelves. You possibly have a drawer, and your above counter well units. You can do one of 2 things, like I mentioned earlier. You can stop this at 2100, or take it all the way up to the ceiling of basically 2850 or whatever, minusing the slab thickness, right? So that's kind of the idea here. what's this, two sets of elevations, one for doors open and one for the other one for the door closed, I'm assuming, and all sorts of other details of the kitchen itself. All right. So this is in terms of the sheet itself, but to go into a little more depth of the small details that might be required. Uh, First of all, what is the height of a window sill in a kitchen? What is this particular height? And we said that the cooktop there is a bad idea, so let's replace that with a sink. And then you have a whatever there, then you have the skirting behind that, you have something there, and you have that. Sill height 950. What's the regular sill height? What's the regular sill height of a normal room and things like that? A regular sill, yeah, it can be 750 to, yeah, 900 is the most standard sill height. You can go down to 750 and things like that. Any lower, and yeah, you can start calling it a low window. So assuming the regular sill is approximately 900, what's the height of a kitchen window? It is not 950 or 1 meter. It's a little higher than that. Yeah, 1.2 to 1 is approximately alright. So the idea here is it should be approximately at least a foot above your counter itself, and that is so we have this surface. This surface is important to us mostly because one, we have a tap and things like that there, and that has to fit in cleanly. But more than that, basically as a backsplash, right? So as you're washing dishes and things like that, you're almost definitely going to have some water splashing up. And if your window comes till there, your glass is going to get dirty. Whatever material windows made out of is going to just be taking a lot more water onto it and things like that, which ultimately is not a very good idea. So we have this at as in the sill at approximately 1.2 meters. This should probably be 400. This, assuming this is 800. Right. So yeah. Then in terms of this detail of a sink itself, I will get to the fixing of a counter, which is also important. But in terms of the things that you have to remember to include in a section is, if this is the sink, this, what is that portion called? What is that? It's a trap. Tall piece. It's a trap. But what trap is it? It's not a tall piece. Tall piece is. I haven't heard of the term tall piece actually in term as a term. Tail piece. No. It's called a bottle trap, which happens below the sink. Look these up. Actually, I might as well look these up now. So this is basically what a bottle trap is. The idea is that this comes from the sink or your basin. It goes through here, and then the actual outlet goes into the wall here. This trap is what we use for our things. You can possibly use one of those a simpler version, but this is the most regular standard thing that we use. As in, we could use this kind of, but yeah, this is as in this is a lot more modern anyway. This is called a P trap, by the way. Okay, I think these are the basics of a kitchen. We can stop here for today and pick this up tomorrow if you still need explanation for the kitchen itself. Considering I think there are 3 people here or something, and that this is failing quite often. The stream. I think here we've just covered the very basics. If you know the wardrobe sheet, basically all the details from there apply here. It's the same kind of drawers that you will use. You will use the tandem drawers like we spoke about in the previous iteration, or rather the previous stream, so to speak. So what else? As you will use the same kind of hinges and things like that to design the overhead and below counter cabinets. The depth of an overhead cabinet is 300. Alright, I can draw that in section. That is the one thing that I wanted to explain. One important thing is the below counter things. The door will be about 450 high, right? I mean 450 wide. That is mostly because of the size, as in the weight that the hinges can take. Alright, but for our overhead cabinets, the height that we use is 300 mm, and that is mostly so when you actually open this door, yes, it's still within that thing. You don't have to move back. If it was 450, it'll probably come up till there, and then to open this door you actually have to step back and things like that. So the door in an overhead thing is generally 300 mm or so. Then this is 300, so totally becomes 600 deep. If this is 600, this is 550, that goes in, this is 500. Your it's it'll look very similar to your uh, wardrobe sections, where your door comes, where the shelving happens and things like that. This can be as in filled with something. You have backing ply as you did there. You have what's it called, the door, the shelving, with however you want to have it stand. Now, depending on the hinge that you use, it can either be inset, overlaying, half overlay, all of those things. Right? I'm assuming most of you got that, or what, the five, six of you here got that. I think we can call it a close here. If you have any questions, now would be a good time. The arch there, yeah, is mostly for decorations, but the fact that they haven't provided a door is, I think, a decent design, well, choice. Mostly because it is, as in, uh, allows for easy access between the kitchen and the dining. It's you. There's no reason why you really need to lock a kitchen, really. So the door there is kind of redundant as compared to not redundant, useless as compared to a bedroom and things where you do actually need the privacy. Obviously, you still have closed off kitchens and doors there, as in it's not like a bad thing. Uh, but yeah, here they have provided it as in as it's leads into the dining, which is another important thing. It's not leading into the living room that is then leading into the dining and things like that. In which case, you'd probably still need a door. So just in case it's like super dirty, you can just close the door and as in not have to clean the entire house every time someone walks in. Details in terms of how to fix the what's this countertop to the well, the rest of it and everything are twofold. One is there are two types of as in support systems. One is the one that was used very long time back. Not very long time back, I suppose it's still being done in places. You basically have brick piers in between. So you have tiny walls that are made of brick, half brick thick, like as in not 9-inch walls, some like 6-inch walls, and you build them up, and then you place the counter on top of it, right? So the granite actually sits on top of that and is supported with the bricks themselves. If not, you can support the entire thing with plywood, which is what is done nowadays. So the entire wardrobe section of it, so to speak, the shelving and all of that is constructed as separate boxes, and then the boxes are put into place, and so the boxes include a plywood on top also, and the counter sits on top of the the boxes. And not again going into too much detail because, like I said, there aren't too many of you here. There are literally 7 of you supposedly. But any other details you can possibly ask me in class, I think. I don't think this is a As in, honestly, I don't think this is wonderfully successful, really, in terms of a presentation, in terms of a class to be held. It has too many issues and stuff like that. But anyway. In terms of this being a small kitchen, this is a regular kitchen, unfortunately. Except for, as in, those massive ones that we've used in our designs and our sheets are mostly because we can, right? We are not paying for it. But in as in most kitchens around are this size. All your regular 2 BHKs and 3 BHKs have kitchens this size. They might be, what, instead of 7 feet, it might be 9 feet, but that effectively is the size of a bedroom. And anywhere you have what's this real estate, and as in you have developers and they are your clients, they will make sure that the kitchen is as small as possible, and most of the space is given to your bedrooms, because that's the one that the clients are actually looking to check how big the thing is. They don't mind slightly smaller kitchens if they have slightly bigger bedrooms. Passage and utility also, yeah, it happens quite often, unfortunately. The idea of the utility has been morphed so badly nowadays. That one kitchen simply did not have ventilation unless you opened the utility, which therefore made it part of the kitchen. So though that was a very bad idea, but the regular idea of a utility is that you can put all your washing outside. So you in an apartment, the one of the major problems is you don't have a place to put the washing machine, as in your toilets are generally small, and therefore it honestly doesn't fit there. And so this utility is literally a balcony that is kind of secure, and you can dry your clothes and stuff like that, and possibly wash heavy vessels and stuff like that. Especially nowadays in the urban scenario, you have maids who come in to wash your vessels, so you don't wash them as you cook, or as you finish cooking rather. You just stack them and leave them. The maid comes in once a day or something, and that is going to, well, pile up in, basically your kitchen looks dirty. So they have this utility sink, which is just a bigger sink, and you just dump everything there, so at least it looks clean, for the most part. But that particular idea has been morphed in whatever into these things where a utility has to be there, so they just chop a kitchen in half and call half of it utility. It is very, very ugly, yes, but that is what we have. So yeah. So while you're designing apartments, make sure those kind of things don't happen. That's all. That's the best we can do. Anyway, with that, I think we can call it a close. And I don't know if we'll do this again. Again, considering responses, many of you gave your names and stuff like that, but not many of you are actually watching it here, and this is way too much effort for me, I think. So we can figure how we're proceeding, if at all, later. For now, thank you. See you. Hope this was helpful to someone somewhere, or rather, all of you. All of you. Come on, yeah, it's the spirit. Alright, take care. Thanks. See you.